So Satya shows up at my office here in Burbank, and she has a little suitcase, comes into my office. We roll down the curtains, close my eyes. 20 minutes later, after having my first Alchemic Sonic environment experience, I felt completely different, unlike anything else I've ever felt in my entire life. I felt I had balance with my mind, body, and soul. And I told Satya, this is transformational. It's going to change so many lives in a positive way. And I think what you're in for is a real experience that will hopefully change you in a positive way, because music should change you and have an impact. And I really feel what Satya's created is not only transformational, but most importantly, it's impactful in the best of ways. So let's give a nice warm welcome to Satya Hinduja, the founder and artist of Alchemic Sonic Environments.
Thank you, Sat. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be here for the second time. Last year was my first year welcoming Alchemic Sonic Environment to the Musexpo family. And I just want to say that this journey that I've been on, that has led me and led all of us here to now understand music as a universal language that brings us all together as a family, has on its, like at this moment in time, it has in its brink getting to a point where people, legendary musicians, artists, engineers, like Ken Scott, who I recently heard at the Royal Albert Hall a couple of weeks back, saying music has gone from music. And what does that mean? Like at this point in time, in 2024, when we should be closer to music because of technology and everything that's happening, music has gone from music. And so this is a very, very profound statement that impacts me so much, and I know all of us here. And I want to take us down a road of time traveling with me back to the roots of where I come from, which is why Alchemic Sonic Environment was born. So I was born in the land of spirituality, deep listening, meditation, and a lot of noise. The noise that we all understand of not just social media, but environmental noise. And it was in that point in time that I realized that I wanted to become, and I wanted to dedicate my life as an artist, as a human being, to becoming the student of sound and student of music. I had a dream that one day I would be surrounded by magical sounds all around me, and look, we're in the world of spatial audio today, which is the most exciting new frontier in music. So I grew up in an environment where artists like Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, the Beatles, Jamiroquai, all were kind of trying to communicate a message. Imagine a world where we are one. We're one love, we're all one. You know, we need to heal the world. The earth is suffering. We're gonna be living in a virtual insanity way before the reality we live in now, right? So in that time of building this connection with music as a student of sound, I started to embark on my journey as a young singer, singing on All India radio as a 5-year-old. That led me to wanting to deepen my journey of deep listening, and I found myself moving to this great country where I started to explore film scoring between 2001 and 2004. Unfortunately, day one was 9/11, another very big reality of noise for our consciousness, for our world. And that took me back to India, where I worked in the Indian film industry, recognizing that the power of music is so profound, but I don't really want to tell the stories that I was being asked to communicate through music at that point in time. So I decided to pause, completely quit music, and work in my family hospital. This was the first moment in time where I started to understand the potentiality of art and its connection to healing. And what could that look like, not just from a auditory perspective, from a visual perspective, from a language perspective. So I worked in the hospital for a couple of years and then realized I need to go back to my roots of music and moved back again to this great country this time around as a DJ. And I started to explore electronic music, frequencies, in that journey of sound design and exploring the possibilities of what the psychology of music in film scoring leads to the frequencies of sound designing for the human brain, I didn't even realize that I was actually constantly healing my own depression that I didn't even know I had. I was experiencing it, but I had no word to describe that. And today I've, studying in neuroscience, in the frontiers of neuroscience, that various genres, listening to various genres, changes the human brain. So that is why, for me, alchemic sonic environment is not just sound as a potential of healing, it's music, right? There's so much potential in music for brain health. So I was consistently talking and sharing experiences of, silencing out the noise to listen to the music in everything you do, without even realizing that I was tapping into something much deeper. The depth that I was tapping into, which is so universal, was constantly, slowly emerging without even me realizing what was happening. And at this conference in India in 2013, I met a neuroscientist who was talking about brainwaves, meditation, and frequencies. And I was talking about electronic music in the brain by then. This is the moment when ASE was born. I was given a frequency. I was told it's the frequency of the heart. I'm Indian. The word chakra didn't mean much to me, even though I'm Indian. And I started to question how this one frequency, 136.10 cycles of sound per second, which you will experience in a little bit of time, had such an impact on me that when I decided to compose around it, I was taken into a 3-hour loss of space and time. I forgot time, I forgot space, I didn't understand how music could take me to such a deep place without any noise. And it was at that point in time that I realized that the thing that this journey of deep listening, from noise to music to silence, brought me into the essence of this very profound universal symbol, which is, I don't know if any of you know this symbol, it's the symbol of Om, it's the universal sound symbol, that I found from an Eastern as well as Western perspective has the same essence. Nada Brahma in the Vedic culture means sound, as sound is the creation. Sound is a form of creation. In the Western perspective, in the Bible, first came the word was God, then came light, right? So we live in this kind of visual world, not realizing that we've actually been listening since the first week in the mother's womb, not just through air. We feel the mother's heartbeat from the first week, which is the fastest way sound communicates to us. We then start to hear sound through the amniotic fluids by 18 weeks. All of our bodies are filled with water, right? The relationship of listening, water, memory, it's incredible how much potential there is and that we're not being tapping into. We only start to listen to sound and music through the medium of air once we're born. So the relationship of listening from the first week in the mother's womb till we're even born, that relationship of listening and brain development, leading into this journey of life till the moment we die, is so incredibly immaculate. It is constant, it is continuous, and yet we as the industry of music, we as the industry of the world that we live in, haven't been able to make that connection yet for the potential of what is to emerge if we're able to start thinking sound and feeling it from a much more embodied perspective. It was at this point that when I took the frequency and composed around it as an electronic artist, I realized that something new was born. I had to name it something. It wasn't music, it wasn't healing, it was something so deep that I decided it was that point in time the vision of Alchemic Electronica was born. A new genre that wants to integrate frequencies of planetary frequencies, cellular frequencies, within the structure of music making. So taking ourselves away from the equal temperament system and actually going deeper into natural resonances of sound that naturally connect us to who we are in this universe. Then I realized, well, I can't just deliver it in a normal platform. How are people going to understand what this is? And that's how Alchemic Sonic Environment was born. An environment that invites people into the alchemy of sound within themselves, within the other, and that relationship receives and sends out to the all-encompassing ecosystem. And so we started doing lots of concerts, creating alchemic sonic environments that are very, very precise in how they're constructed and layered. And we realized how we're doing that is by working with the ASE method. But the ASE method is using deep listening principles of the ancient Indian wisdom to invite people through a recording process, well, even before composition process, recording process, delivery process, and then when the person experiences the work, they're able to tap into their inner landscape in a much more profound way, just using the same language that we all understand here, sound and music. So let's take a moment and watch a short video for you to understand the work we've already been doing. Sound, it's happening all around us. You're always seesawing between the noise and the chaos and the silence and the music and everything in between. As soon as you start to activate your awareness of the space around you, and the sound within you, then we're naturally in one with ourselves. And that space, wherever we may be, becomes the alchemic sonic environment.
We're not used to being taken into account in terms of how we feel and how the experience is for us. Normally it's kind of, here's the music, go. And your job is to serve the audience. Whereas Satya has created this process, which means that we have to involve ourselves in the experience.
This music is so different and so original and so innovative. The piece contains this pedal note throughout of 136.1 cycles, which is a very low frequency. And that frequency I hadn't come across in any other pop music or classical music or film score. This feeling of, I want it to come back.
The most incredible team, creating that space that we would like for any listener sitting, no matter where they are, to feel when they're letting go of their thoughts and their emotions to realize a vision that really holds the intention of the transformational power of sound. It is a humble approach to try and communicate all genres, all cultures, we're all one. Music is one. And that's really why ASE exists, to understand how to be in harmony with ourselves.
Music has its way of healing, because that's what most of us, nearly 99% of us, engage as a method to calm ourselves down, because music is connected with emotion and emotion regulation.
I've never experienced something like this. It was one of the most unique experiences.
And so I think an experience like this, it flexes that ability in us and brings out our innate consciousness. And so I 100% think that this can be it's a universal way for anybody to deepen their spiritual practice and bring that connection into daily life.
So what we just, I guess, we're trying to communicate is the sound of now. There is no other time but now, in this very moment, that we can tap into the essence of resonance, we can tap into universal wisdom, we can use the power of sound and music to really tap into our innate potential that we all hold within ourselves. So I'd like to invite all of us here for a short experience, inviting all of you into an alchemic sonic environment. I'm going to have you, all of you, close your eyes. Take a moment to keep your digital devices away. Keep your feet flat on the ground. And as you listen, to the sound of this detuned piano, I invite you to take a slow, long, deep breath in and a slow breath out, settling into this space. Listening carefully to the sound of the space around you. Noticing the sound of the AC, the sound of human voices. The sound of your own breath. And take another slow inhale and exhale. Take another slow, long inhale. And as you exhale, I invite you into a big sound. You can repeat that cycle. Take another slow inhale. And as you breathe out, you can make a big this piece of music built on the Lydian scale. Invites any of you in this room to tone and vocalize with your eyes closed, with the root and the fifth. for the singers in the room. If it calls, you can express your voice. For the listeners in the room, just focus on the sounds as they reveal. Taking as much time as you need without opening your eyes, taking another slow, long, deep breath in and a slow breath out. And whenever you feel ready, you can gently open your eyes, allowing the light to permeate through. So I feel like I have lost time because I don't see a timer here, so I'm going to try and finish this structure a little bit faster. But the intention of this shared experience was for you to understand that within a moment of becoming in connection with yourself, our perception of time can completely change using this power, this profound tool that we all have, sound and music. And it's something that's been so interesting to witness that 5,000 years ago, Indian wisdom spoke about sound. The Beatles came in 1968 to explore the same resonance. And till today, in Rishikesh, the land of spirituality, we now have the Beatles Street. And the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi ashram has actually recoined itself to the Beatles ashram. So the power of music and sound and consciousness and culture, and we're here at Musexpo. Wow. What can we do? Everybody knows that meditation is the answer to a lot of problems, but it's really difficult. However, the more we tune in to the moment, flow becomes steady through habit. And that's really one of the reasons why Alchemic Sonic Environment exists, because we now understand through science that listening to complex, longer pieces of music can actually create a huge change in the human brain. It can enhance cognitive abilities, it can reduce anxiety and stress, and promote social and emotional development. So the potential of using sound and music within an environment of healing, of medicine, has huge potential, and that is why we have been exploring and researching through practical experiences by using the ASE method within performances, experiences, to tap into this incredible information that we have of memory, the potential of sound, music, and memory, and enhancing and regenerating the human brain. Enhancing our emotions by regenerating our amygdala. So coming back to what we've been doing in the last 10 years is sharing the experience. 2,700 people have experienced the first composition essence that you saw in the film. We've been collecting people's reactions, like active participation, which we'll ask you to do as well. 11 global experiences all over the world in different industry types to be able to test if this methodology can actually impact those that are not listening, because the ones that are listening, we already listen. And so just to give you a little brief experience, we've tapped into university, like Oxford University. We've tapped into working with a spiritual conference, with the World Government Summit, taking it to as many different industry types that we can before actually tapping into music, because this is our family here. We also started to create environments when we share the experience in a very unique way so that people engage with music and sound in a potential that limits their sight so that they can actually listen deeper. Our most unique experience that we did last year was Harmony of the Worlds. It's a concept of harmonizing the left brain and the right brain, where we used the methodology from an inside-out perspective. We marketed it like, because it's not really marketing, it's the essence of the work is it's more than a concert. It was an invitation for people to come into such a deep state that we collaborated with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra and performed Essence into Beethoven's Sixth Symphony back to Essence as a structure bracketing a genre of music that is not requiring closing eye, but actually inviting people into that state where people could even experience Beethoven in a new way. We invited them to let go of their eye masks when Beethoven comes on, and you would not have expected that a lot of people still kept the eye mask on. We collected their feedback so that we can tap into research potential. And this is what we're trying to communicate here, is if we can invite people into a proactive listening state where people get much more engaged, the potential is limitless. And so here we are communicating to us here that within the structure of Alchemic Sonic Environment, 92.3% of people that came to the concert last year wanted to come back to an experience like this. 80% of people wanted to take it home. We started to understand and take all of the feedback that we had from different experiences that clearly communicates the power of sound, music, people, voice, space, feel, time. There's so much potential here for us to actually work collectively to create a whole new ecosystem where music and sound has such a profound healing impact that we can actually create a whole new industry. ASE is dedicated to my grandparents' values, and principles, where I grew up in an environment where the feminine and the masculine are so embodying the principles of sharing and equality and compassion. So this is something that I hold as a very dear value system as we're building ASE, because we believe in sound and music to improve the human condition, to generate and regenerate brain health, prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. We all know music can heal, not heal, but bring people back from a state of dementia and Alzheimer's. So if we actually start to engage with music more than the perception of entertainment, we can actually create a whole new longevity lifestyle where people start to engage with deep listening in a more profound way, just like you would go to run to take care of yourself. And through music, experience, education, and technology. We've been working with so many partners over the last 10 years, and we realized that this is an uncharted territory. There's a lot of people trying to do a lot of things within the space of neuroscience and music, but a lot of times the scientists tap into music, but the musicians are not involved, and it's like this space between, and it's a bit cluttered, and I feel like we have the potential here to invite in artists, invite in the business of music to tap into a whole new possibility. And so we're here saying, join us as we build the new ASE ecosystem that's connecting sound, music, health, technology for the future of sound as a potential for medicine. I invite you to take a little photograph of that QR code if anybody would like to get involved. And I look forward to journeying with all of you. Thank you so much.